Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rockstar Gaming. My name is Eric. CMON is in the final 48 hours of the DCeased campaign for their new Zombicide superhero game. We are going to take a look today at everything that has been revealed since update number 52 on their Kickstarter page. We're going to look at all the new stretch goals, all the new daily unlocks, the new expansion that's out, and take a look at the all-in pledge, which was all announced over the last few days. So let's go ahead and take a look at all that. And as always, we are going to start here on the main page and take a look at the current funding and backers and how long we have to go. Word of note, I am filming this on Wednesday morning. I would have filmed this Tuesday night, and I meant to start filming it right at the 48-hour mark for the campaign, which was 9 o'clock on Tuesday night. However, I really wasn't feeling the best yesterday. I'm pretty sure I was asleep by the time that came up. So I do apologize for not having this video out earlier, and by earlier I mean like midnight last night. But we are doing it right now. We're going to be covering up through updates number 53 through 70, which does take us a little bit into this morning, but that is okay. So current funding goal right now is at 1,833,645. Spoiler alert, the current stretch goal is set for 1,870,000. So probably not going to hit it while I'm talking about the video right now. It is currently 10:43 a.m., which is different than normal because usually 10:43 p.m. when I get to this point. But we are currently at 9,666 backers with 34 hours to go. It's really like 34 hours and 15 minutes or so at this point. By the time you're watching this, it'll probably be closer to 32-ish hours. So, but yeah, that is where we are at with the campaign. Quite a few things were announced, and we'll get into all those. But we do have a new expansion to take a look at, as well as to see what all is involved with the all-in pledge, which was announced yesterday. So let's go ahead and dive right into update number 53. Update number 53 is the daily snap, nothing but a hound dog. So this was the daily for the 25th, and it was Ace the Bat Hound. Like I said, Jimmy's clue was, who's a good vengeance, who's a good knight. I am vengeance, I am the knight, Ace the Bat Hound. So we are getting him as a bystander in the game. Let's see. Ace was adopted by Alfred and soon became a loyal member of the Bat family. Having a Bat Hound at your side can be very useful in a pinch, and as Ace contributes ferociously to any melee fight. Always ready to learn new tricks, the superhero may choose to gain a new trait instead of power every round. So there is Ace. There is his figure, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what the hint was, even though we'll find out here in a few minutes. But it says, well, it's not every day that your subject is able to provide their own flash lighting. So there's the clue for the next day. On to update number 54. 54, the last lantern. We've had the first lantern in Alan Scott, and now we're going to have the last lantern. Greetings, tree lobsters. Tara, who was unlocked while we were making the last video for update number 52, she was unlocked early on, actually late on the 25th, because it was after the 12 o'clock update. So Tara was unlocked, and then we got Kyle Rayner, the last Green Lantern. Although he's not the last Green Lantern now, because I think Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, and a couple others have been since. But at the time, he was the last Lantern after Hal Jordan basically destroyed the power battery and murdered everyone back during was it Emerald Knight? I think that was the storyline. It was after Death of Superman, or Death and Return of Superman. So anyway, if we reach 1280k, we will unlock for all backers of Kickstarter exclusive Kyle Rayner hero, including his figure ID and card. Kyle Rayner is the last hope of the Green Lantern Corps, and hope is very much needed in the desperate battle against anti-life. A relentless hero, Kyle uses his power to gain extra heroic traits, extend the range of his power ring attacks, and even to project barriers to keep the hordes from moving. His creative mind allows him to use his powers in myriad ways, pushing enemies away, gathering them in one spot, and blowing them up. So that is pretty nifty. I don't know how they have his uniform now. I think this is kind of indicative of his 90s uniform, more so, especially with that giant mask on there. And he's toned down his outfit since then, but I haven't actually read through any Green Lantern books in a while, so I'm not actually sure how costume is now, but that looks a little bit to me more like his 90s costume. So there's that. There's his figure looking very nice. Was it a moon rocks right there? So yeah, so that's gonna be Kyle Rayner. They named this one also the Last Lantern. I think the other one is First Lantern for Alan Scott. One of the things I do want to mention, because we are far enough into these reveals that I'm confident to say it right now, but we haven't seen anybody else from the Justice Society. We've got Alan Scott, but we don't have Jay Garrick. We don't have Wildcat. We don't have, we got Power Girl. But we don't have a way of essentially making a team mostly of JSA members. Now, again, as I said before, the JSA was not involved in the event at all. But it'd be kind of nice, since we have two, counting Power Girl, in the campaign. It'd be nice to get a couple more. Who knows what the stretch goals for the next 35 hours will be. So there's Kyle Rayner on update number, I believe, 55. I'm not going to go too much into this one, but this is a deep dive into the Unkillables expansion. They basically go through here and reveal exactly what all is going on with the all the characters in the game, showing you the models, showing you all of the cards the way they are currently now. So you could technically play test these in any other superhero Zombicide game that you may or may not own / may not have gotten arrived to yet. But there's all the abilities here, with the note, again, as they've said before, that a lot of this is subject to change. So some of these cards might change by the time the actual final product is sent in. So again, I'm not going to go too much into these. These are more like a dev diary kind of thing. You can read these through at your own leisure. But yeah, a lot of these, Solomon Grundy making sense with his 5 health. Let's see, Cheetah right there, her card. Got Lady Shiva's card, and a little bit of what she does and kind of the breakdown of her abilities. Got the Creeper right there. Tree Lobsters for life. There you go. Once during your turn, you may select one zone within range 2. Push all enemies in that zone 1 towards your zone. Okay. So there's that. And then there's Mary Marvel, again, with her cool mechanic where if you are using her as a bystander and one of the other characters, another superhero dies on the board or gets eliminated on the board, she basically pops up as playable character. So, and again, 4 health makes complete sense on that one. But yeah, they're all the living characters from Unkillables. So update number, we'll be on 50 or 56. Yeah, on the 26th. That was where we at, day 26. So we're on day 13 now. So we unlocked Kyle Rayner and got everyone's most requested figure, Kite-Man. Got Kite-Man. So if we reach 1310K, we will unlock for all backers the Kickstarter exclusive Kite-Man zombie hero. That was another 30K jump stretch goal. Undead Kite-Man may not sound like a great threat at first, and by all rights, he really isn't. However, when a zombie strapped to a kite shows up out of nowhere, there's a good chance he might simply go splat against the superheroes. Sure, that will put an end to his flying days, but the superheroes won't come out unscathed either. I think from watching the live stream when they were talking about this later, that he basically spawns in a location, and I guess if superheroes are in that location, I think he can just eliminate them by like crashing into them. So that's going to be pretty interesting. It basically kills him too, so it's like a one-time thing. He can, if he's not running into a superhero, like stay on the board, but yeah, he basically shows up to splat into somebody. So there is that. So that's gonna be a pretty cool mechanic. I miss like old school DC. I've gone back and read through a bunch of like old Silver Age stuff, and just the things they came up with back then, Silver Age, Golden Age, all that stuff. The things they came up with back then were just, it's like throwing it all against the wall and seeing what sticks. It was a interesting time to be alive as far as comic books and everything went. So I encourage you, if you have a way of doing it, either through graphic novels or like the DC Infinite app or Infinity app, definitely encourage you to take a look at some of those old series and read them for what they were, not comparing them necessarily to how things are now. I mean, they've changed the universe like 6 times since some of these characters were created. So anyway, so The next update is the daily snap, I believe, for the 26th, like a bolt from the blue. So the next character we did get was Black Lightning. Jefferson Pierce brings a lot of energy to humanity's last stand against the zombies. His lightning bolt attacks can spill out, easily frying nearby walkers. Black Lightning's attacks can be overcharged to dramatically increase their reach and potency. And if the horde is foolish enough to swarm him, he can generate powerful electric field to neutralize them, burn them to a crisp. So he basically has AOE abilities, it sounds like. So that is going to be a great addition to the team there. I don't know because they don't have it on there, but I'm wondering if, like, it says generate electromagnetic field to neutralize them. I don't know if that's going to affect player characters. So we'll see on that. So that is the daily reveal for the 26th. So there is that. Our next update is similar to the Unkillables one. This is a breakdown of the Shadow Pack overview. So it goes over, shows the different characters in Shadow Pack, and then kind of goes over their character cards immolation for Constantine before attacking with pyrokinesis, which is his main skill. You may spend 3 power to roll 1 die for each horde zombie in the targeting zone. Ignore zombie heroes for this attack. So there is that ability right there, and his write up for that. Let's see. Then we got Zatanna, Logomancy, and I do like how Logomancy is written normal, but Wither and was it roster? Restore. Both of those are in backwards magic kind of thing, so which would probably be the Logomancy. Once during your turn, you may spend 2 power to take the top card of the heroic trait discard pile and give that trait to one superhero within range 2. So that's pretty cool. And the Restore, I believe, is a heal spell. So that's pretty awesome there for her. Then we've got Dr. Fate with his precognition ability. Let's see, Blue Devil, Demonic Resilience. You have 4 health once during each round. You may ignore 1 wound you would suffer. That's pretty cool. So it's going to give him some pretty cool endurance there. Enchantress, Possession. During your turn, you may spend 1 power to push 1 bystander or enemy within range 1 up to 1 zone. This may be done multiple times. So there is that's going to be a way for her to positively do crowd control with the bystanders and superheroes, or bystanders and enemies. Right there. There's her cool figure there. Got Etrigan, the greater demon. You have 5 health. Good. When attacking with demonic might, you may spend 1 power to have enemies suffer -1 toughness against this attack. So that's pretty good there. So that's all the main characters in Shadow Pack. So let's go ahead and get on to the next update. So next we're going to be dealing with update number 59 here, March of the Penguin Greeting Tree Lobsters. So we've got Kite-Man unlocked as of the 26th, and then we got Penguin Living. If we reach 1350, we'll unlock for all backers the Kickstarter exclusive The Penguin superhero, including his figure ID card. So I do like, where is it down here? I do like this blue, translucent blue here. I don't know if it's going to be that bright a blue or not, or if it's going to be more that more light whitish blue that Iceman is in Marvel Zombies. I think it's a lighter blue. Pretty sure it's a lighter blue. Anyway, so this is going to be that he's standing on an iceberg. So that's pretty cool. And they added rockets to the Penguins. Oswald Cobblepot is certainly no hero, but his strategical mind and underworld connections can be invaluable in the outbreak. The Penguins' wealth and power as a crime boss can push others to perform above and beyond their normal limits, giving them all the resources and incentives they need. And don't discount his trick umbrellas, which are able to shield himself and others from zombie attacks. So that's pretty cool. Kind of have some shield abilities in there. But yeah, so now we've got both living and undead Penguin for reasons. So there's that right there. Next update we're going to take a look at is the daily snap for the 27th. Think small. And I didn't read the clue from the 26th, but I read it, and I think it was having to do something with a needing a different kind of lens for taking the picture. And so when I read that, I basically was like, that's gonna be the Atom. Anyway, so there was a talking about the final countdown, which was their live stream that they had yesterday at noon. I did finish watching through it here today, so it was a pretty cool. I like everything they talked about. It's always good to watch those streams because they kind of give you a little bit more into the behind the scenes, sometimes with design of the game and everything. So it was pretty cool to watch. But so anyway, we got Adam, superhero with his ID card. Ray Palmer's incredible miniaturizing technology makes it very easy for him to avoid the zombie hordes, especially because he is apparently, I don't know. So I don't know if that's him coming out of an ear that's on the ground, or if that's supposed to be the side of a zombie's face and he's coming out of the brain of one of the zombies. That's kind of gross, actually. Now that and he's popping out of there, you can clearly tell there's like blood down here. Perfectly clean outfit. Perfectly clean outfit. Maybe this one boot has some blood on it, but I think that's just the lighting. Anyway, Reformer's incredible miniaturizing technology makes it so easy for him to avoid the zombie hordes by becoming almost microscopic. The atom can slip by and go unnoticed, cutting through the hordes to strike where it's least expected. Um, with a terrifying sudden expanse, he may even be able to instantly take out a zombie hero. Not pretty, but very effective. Pretty sure that's the Ant-Man Thanos analogy there. All right, so the next daily snap for the next day was, so sorry, ma'am, shouldn't have taken that picture without asking. Won't happen again, ma'am. Promise. Someone important is the next day. Someone important, someone scary. So next update was the only add-on I feel like to the game right now that's not an expansion, but they have the tile set. So now this tile set right here is $20. Kickstarter exclusives. There are no new tiles in here, so I'm not going to kind of dwell on it very much. But this is going to have the 9 tiles from the DCeased main game. It's going to have the Gotham Knights and the Arkham Asylum tiles. So the main good thing about this is that with these tiles down here, you can basically have, if you wanted to, Wayne Manor and the Batcave up at the same, like, made up at the same time as the streets of Gotham, which, okay, that those don't really need to be done that well. Arkham Asylum going into the sewers would be different because you can create a scenario where you're going into the sewer, utilizing the sewers as you're in Arkham Asylum, kind of going using it as multiple floors, kind of a thing. So having all that out at one time is pretty good. And then of course, being able to use the front and the back of a tile at the same time on a board is always good for these tiles right here. Like I said, for having a little bit more customization with your custom scenarios, these are really good. If you're not going to do necessarily custom scenarios, you don't really necessarily need to get them. Now, they did allude a little bit to in the live stream that said they were not, after something else we're going to show, they're not going to have any more add-on, or I'm sorry, they're not going to have any more expansions to the game after the one we're getting ready to talk about, but that they would potentially have more add-ons. I don't know if like later today, again, it's at 11 o'clock right now. We'll check the main page here in a little bit, but I don't know if after the daily snap for today, if they are going to announce the dice or tokens or whatnot. They won't be part of the all-in pledge, but I don't know if they're going to announce those extra things at the end. So we'll see how that goes. So there's the tile set for update number 61. We're going to go to update number 62 right now, which was on the 27th. We finally unlocked the Penguin after the reveal of the Atom. I was going to say Ant-Man. After the reveal of the Atom. And then finally we get Superman. I thought this was going to go into the last box. I was actually thinking the whole time that the last box would be an Apokolips box. That Superman would be the main headlining hero fighting against Darkseid, but apparently I was wrong. So at 1.4 million, we were going to unlock Kal-El, Superman, the Man of Steel, with both of his functioning arms, not a robot arm like in whichever comic that was. I think it was the end of Dead Planet. Anyway, so there is Superman. Superman is the greatest hope for humanity in the fight against the anti-life virus, which also makes it the greatest danger if the Man of Steel should fall victim to it. Superman's strength is legendary. He can take a lot of damage and even be able to shrug off attacks by zombie hordes completely. The Big Blue Boy Scout is always ready to rescue anyone in danger, flying in from anywhere on the board when enemies close in. And of course, his attacks are able to break through the defenses of the strongest zombie heroes. So yeah, he can move around all over the board, I think is what they said during um, the live stream yesterday. So he's going to be a very, very interesting character. I know people were complaining about how long the cape is. It's a model. Just let it be. So there's that. Superman is such a strong character, they can take the place of multiple superheroes in your team, allowing you to play with less superheroes than indicated. They haven't yet settled on this yet. I don't know if he's so basically like in a standard game and you're using 4 models on the board, he might be able to replace 1, so you can actually play 3 players, and Superman basically is taking on the role of 2 of them. So yeah, that's Superman's going to be pretty interesting to see how he functions. Again, 2025. We got a while to go. We got a while for them to figure all this out. So that was update number 62. So let's go ahead and take on update number 63, which is the daily snap for the 28th. So we are going to check in with Jimmy, and the daily snap was Amanda Waller. So yeah, boss character that's scary. Amanda Waller. There we go. Talking about Task Force Z right there. Having put together the Suicide Squad, the current anti-life crisis is another day in the office of Amanda Waller. As ruthless as she is efficient, she has no qualms about sacrificing others to achieve her objectives. With her on your side, other superheroes will suffer, but you'll get the job done. So there's a lot of, and we'll get to the daily here, and a hint for tomorrow in a minute. There's a lot of characters in this game, and some that we'll talk about in a minute, where you're playing them as heroes, as player characters, but like it's an interesting mechanic because they're still out for themselves. Some of them don't take losses from bystander stuff, like losing bystanders, anything like that. Some of them outright, as part of their character, sacrifice different bystanders and other things. So it's going to be very interesting to see the kinds of characters your friends decide to play in this game. So anyway, there is Amanda Waller in her bystander figure. The hint for today, which is in an hour from me filming this, so it'll probably be revealed by the time I get this video done. Says, please sit still for just a moment so I can take a good picture. Come on, sit. I think that is him talking to another canine character. I'm thinking Krypto is going to be the reveal for today. Might be wrong. I don't see if we have Ace the Bat Hound while we don't have Krypto. So we'll see how that goes. Next update is the big event, Undead Gods plus the Omega Pledge. So this update is for Undead Gods, very, very loosely based on War of the Undead Gods. I think during the live stream they said that this box was already planned before they knew that comic was out. So that's why in this case, some things are a little backwards, especially with you look at all the living characters, the fact that a lot of these characters are living characters, whereas in the comic they were definitely undead characters or anti-living characters. So go ahead and take a look at this. So there is DCeased, Undead Gods, $50 Kickstarter exclusive add-on. Apparently that's why they don't have Kickstarter exclusive figures with it. But there are going to be 25 character figures, 4 BoomTube tokens, 6 ID cards, 5 superhero ID cards, 6 action cards, 4 spawn cards, 15 BoomTube spawn cards, 5 equipment cards, and 4 missions. So this is adding more missions to the game. There's all the characters that we're going to have: High Father, Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, Orion, Metron, and Granny Goodness as our superheroes. And then we're going to have Darkseid, Bernadette, Lashina, Stampa, and Mad Harriet as our zombie heroes. And then we're going to have 14 Parademon Horde zombie figures. And then we'll kind of get into all these other components as we go through this update. So got superheroes. We've got High Father. Isaiah is the leader of the New Gods of New Genesis, locked in eternal combat with Darkseid and the evil New Gods of Apokolips, holding the title of High Father. His authority can command other superheroes to perform actions during his turn, and he can use the life equation to grant heroic traits to everybody. The High Father's judgment can be terrifying, though, as he uses power to wipe out all hordes standing away. I think they said he was definitely more of like a crowd control type of character. Let's see. Then you got Mr. Miracle, the son of High Father. At a young age, Scott was given to Darkseid as a truce agreement raised by Apokolips among the female Furies. He eventually fell in love with Big Barda and they escaped to Earth, where he became Mr. Miracle, the world's greatest escape artist. He uses aereo discs to slip through the hordes, being able to get out scot free, even when swarmed during the enemy phase. So again, escape artist. He's probably not going to have to use extra actions to escape, and it even says on here he can even get out during the enemy phase. So that'll be kind of cool. Go to the versatile multi-cube. He can easily bypass doors, activate objectives, or uncover equipment, and wielding the alpha effect, he may heal and give heroic traits to himself and others. So that is going to be pretty cool. Another healing ability there. Then we got Barda, the bruiser of the group, with the undead parademon behind her. Originally a servant of Darkseid and leader of the female Furies, Big Barda fell in love with Mr. Miracle, and together they became superheroes on Earth. She can generate a boom tube to take all those around her to safety, so she can teleport, move around the board. Extremely strong and tough, she is deadly when wielding a Mega Rod, whether in close combat or in range, and her fury is awakened if she is wounded, granting her power and allowing for extra attacks. Yeah, they definitely said during the live stream that she will wreck you in the game, or wreck the enemies. So then we've got Orion, the son of Darkseid. Orion was given to be raised by Highfather as part of the Apocalyptic New Genesis peace agreement. Though tormented by his evil nature, Orion has learned to use the mysterious power of the Astro Force for good. Flying his Astro Harness, he can use power to cross vast distances in an instant. His inner rage often gets the better of him, driving him to charge the hordes whenever he finds himself with no enemies to fight. Thankfully, this same rage also makes him a deadlier fighter the more he is wounded. So basically, probably either throwing more dice or hitting harder when he is wounded. So there is Orion. And then we've got Metron, is the god of knowledge, traveling in his Mobius chair across space and time in an endless quest to know everything. While he attempts to remain neutral on most conflicts, he must side with the living in the war against the anti-life. His cosmic insight grants him endless traits, which he can share with others, and also allows him to affect the results of spawn cards. Drawing power from a mother box, he can even share the power with other superheroes. So spreading power out around different superheroes. Let's see. Having an endless amount of traits, so possibly more than just the 2 traits that characters get. A spawn deck, so probably draws a spawn card and then can choose whether or not to use it or put it to the bottom of the deck, something like that, I'm assuming. So there is that, and then we got Granny Goodness, the main one of the villains in the game, who is sided with the gods of New Genesis against the anti-life. Granny Goodness has always been a loyal servant of Darkseid, training most of his armies, including the parademons and the elite assassins known as the Female Furies. However, as she remains unaffected, she has no choice but to wield her Mega Rod against the anti-life army, using her power to push the hordes back. Used to mistraining the subjects in her orphanage, she starts with a bystander in tow and is unaffected if they are eliminated, discarding them at will to perform a surprise charge. She may even gain power whenever someone notable is taken down. This is another one of those characters that doesn't, in some cases, gets positive effects from things that normally would give characters negative effects. So that, again, that's going to be kind of interesting to see which one of your friends play characters like this in the game. So yeah, so we got the boom tubes. These get spawned during the game, and they can even they act as special spawn points, so they can get put either with a regular spawn point and have more spawns there. They can be inside buildings when you do the zombie spawn inside a building. So yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. These spawns not only they spawn not only swarms of parademons, but also the various apocalyptic super zombie heroes, always escorted by more parademons. So that is pretty cool. And we've got the zombie heroes. So we got Darkseid right here, merciless cosmic tyrant. Darkseid is the ruler of Apokolips and was already pure hatred personified before being taken over by the anti-life virus. He is among the toughest zombies one could fight, and with the aid of his mother box, is always generating boob tubes around him to bring in more unliving apocalyptans. Being an epic zombie hero, Darkseid has access to his own deck of action cards, which he draws from every round, making him an even more dangerous and unpredictable foe. He may, among other things, use his Omega Beams to strike at everyone anywhere near him, disabling their equipment as well. Use a boom tube to ambush unsuspecting superheroes, or project an anti-life wave that forces them to spend power to avoid being wounded. I can't remember if during the live stream they said this card is actually out of date and it does something else now, or not. I can't remember how they exactly worded it, because this equipment card, or this card, looks like another card we're going to take a look at in a minute. Almost looks like it does the exact same thing, but we'll take a look at all that here. There's Darkseid's figure right there. I like that paint job with all that fire coming out of him, essentially. We've got Bernadette. Bernadette is a convincing and devious member of the Female Furies. When she spawns, she also surprises all superheroes by dropping flying parademons on top of each one of them. So I guess that means wherever she is, they drop in. Lashina became the leader of the Female Furies after Big Barda deserted them. She uses her charged energy whips to drain power from superheroes around her. So there's that. And then Stampa, a heavy-hitting member of the Female Furies. Stampa uses her anti-matter boots to crush her enemies. The shockwaves of her attacks are strong enough to wipe out all bystanders standing around her. So that's going to be pretty rough for that. Then finally, Mad Harriet, a savage member of the Female Furies. Mad Harriet changed little after being affected by the anti-life virus, as she was always a raging berserker clawing at her enemies. She charges forward whenever a rush card is drawn, destroying the equipment of any superhero she wounds. That's going to suck a lot, taking out superheroes' equipment. And then we have the Horde Zombies. We've got our Parademons, which there is their figures right there. Genetically created Parademons are the personal stock troops deployed by Darkseid. Whenever Apokolips moves to invade a planet, swarms of these flying soldiers are sent in advance to soften their resistance. Infected with anti-life, they are the perfect vessel to spread death and destruction across the universe. Parademons are a new type of very dangerous horde zombies. These winged aliens are as tough as brutes and as fast as runners, making them a real challenge to superheroes as they pour out of boom tubes that open around the board. I'm assuming that means they get 2 actions on their turn, and then are also at 2 toughness. So that is going to be rough to fight. They may even use parademonization on regular hero horde zombies next to them, turning them into more parademons. So, oof, that is going to be a rough one there. And then we got new equipment. So the expansion adds some powerful cosmic equipment for the superheroes to find and employ against the zombies. The Mobius chair helps control the zombie spawn and movement. When apparently the Mobius chair, I believe, is going to be the most energy hungry equipment in the game. The Mega Rod is an excellent melee weapon whose range can be extended with power, creating a strong kickback. Highfather Staff can not only attack at range, but also give other superheroes power and heroic traits. The Mother Box supercharges your power-ups, making them lethal to the Horde, and the Astro Harness makes you allows you to spend power to move extra zones. So there's all the equipment we got. There is the box. There is the optional buys and how to update your pledge. And then we've got the Omega Pledge for $390 with a discount of $35. I believe they said that you're basically getting Green Lantern Corps for free. You get all of these things. So you're going to get the DCeased main box, Gotham Knights and the Arkham Asylum large expansions, Undead Gods, Shadow Pact, and Unkillables smaller expansions, and then the Green Lantern Corps expansion. You're also going to get the Riddler boxes, the Bat Signal. Let's see who we got. Living Joker, Undead Harley. I don't remember who any of these people are. Sinestro, Kilowog. That's where I was going. Living Sinestro, Undead Kilowog, Undead Tim Drake. No, Undead Damien, Robin, and Living Huntress, and then some new thing. Also, the Dark Knight's Metal crossover cards. But, and we'll get to in a minute, we are apparently going to have 3D terrain for the Daily Planet, Globe, Phone Booth, and lamps, and then as well as the zombie version of Giganta. So there is all that stuff right there. So these are going to be the 3D sculpted versions of those things. And then Giganta, finally, backers getting the Omega Pledge will also get the Kickstarter exclusive Giganta zombie hero, including her oversized figure and spawn. Towering over the hordes and smashing everything in her way, Unliving Giganta is an obstacle few heroes are able to take on. And if they do manage to combine enough damage to bring her down. To bring down the zombie giant, it also even bigger trouble as she crushes anyone under her, be they zombies, bystanders, and superheroes. So there is her figure. There is her in comparison to Batman and some other things. She is standing apparently on the Batmobile. So there is that. Somebody I was talking to was a little bit upset over the fact that this Giganta is basically locked under the all in, but I think Fing Fang Foom was also, and Marvel United Multiverse was also uh, an exclusive figure if you got the all in for that. And I know they do it on some other campaigns as well. So I'm not, I understand this. I'm not too upset about it. I am glad we're not having to buy the 3D terrain, that it is coming essentially in the all-in pledge. So, but yeah, so that is going to be the all-in $390. It gets you everything except for, at the moment, the tile set and anything else they may add on in the next day or two. A stretch goal is that they're going to be announcing over the next 30 something hours will be in the game, but or will be in all this, but any other add-ons, like if they decide to do plastic tokens, if they decide to do what do you call it, plastic tokens, or an extra dice pack, all that stuff will probably be add-ons you have to buy separately, which you have to do in other games anyway. So with the Omega Pledge finally announced, we unlocked Superman. All the people who were complaining that we don't have Superman and didn't want to pledge the game because we didn't have Superman, hey, he was there for a day, guys. I mean, come on, like what are you gonna do? Anyway, update number 65, Unlife in Plastic. It's horrific. So we've got Superman at 1.4 million and with all this stuff, and then we unlocked at 1,460,000 Plastic Man. So there is Undead Plastic Man. I like the sculpt of Plastic Man. I really do. I wish, like in Unkillables, not Unkillables, like in Dead Planet, that it was a larger figure, because in the book he was a larger piece, because he basically was like a moat around around the Penguin stronghold that they had to fight. So he was like a giant menacing figure in that one. When the Anti-Life took over Plastic Man, the results were horrendous. Stretching himself in a mass of raging tendrils, Plastic Man lashes at the heroes from a distance, and if he happens to find himself without a victim within his grasp, he quickly slinks forward to grab another poor soul. So there is Plastic Man. There is his painted figure. I will say, it's probably one of the few Big Child creative jobs. I'm not saying I would do better. I'd probably do worse, but I don't know if I like that paint job too well. Weird to say. Anyway, so yeah, there is Plastic Man. Next update we're going to take a look at is 66. Riddle me this: a character that everyone was worried wouldn't be in the game since not Gotham Knights, Arkham Asylum had his Riddler boxes in there, but we get Riddler at 1,520,000. So if we reach that amount, we get his ID card and figure. He is a living hero. The genius of the Riddler's puzzles may be lost on the mindless zombies, but he's still a valuable ally for the living. Reveling in finding the solutions to the missions he undertakes, he gains extra actions and helps all superheroes gain traits whenever objectives are taken. He also sets clever traps for the zombies, which they invariably fail to disarm. So that's going to be pretty cool. Living character for us. And then next, we're going to have the update Bad to the Bone. Bad to the Bone, once we got up to 1,590,000, we got Lobo. Lobo was one of those characters who I feel was more hyped at the beginning of War of Undead Gods, and then I don't feel like they really did much with him at the end. It's kind of how I feel about it. But if we reach that amount of money, we got Lobo. To call Lobo a superhero is a bit of a stretch. I don't know whose heads he's supposed to have there. Like, I feel like it's Damian and Cassie, Batman or Robin and Wonder Girl, but I don't know who that's supposed to be. If you guys want to let me know in the comments if they said who that's supposed to be, I know who that is. Call Lobo a superhero is a bit of a stretch, but the spacefaring bounty hunter gets the job done and will relish the opportunity of fragging some superheroes taken by the anti-life virus. In fact, he rolls extra dice whenever he has zombie heroes in his sight. Tougher than most superheroes, Lobo dives headlong into the hordes, swinging wildly, confident his Caesarian what is it? Zarnian physiology will heal any wound he suffers. So there is that figure right there. I really do like the Lobo figure. I hope it's a little bit bigger than like some of the other characters as far as height, because I know he's more of a towering figure there. But yeah, there is Lobo. That was update 67. Update 68, Girl of Steel. This one is actually pretty cool. So we do get at 1,670,000. We got Supergirl, Zombie Supergirl, which is what she mostly was in War of the Undead Gods. So we get her spawn card and all that stuff. Superman's cousin, Kara Zor-El, was one of the most powerful heroes in the world. Now she's one of the most powerful zombies. Her Kryptonian physiology makes her nigh indestructible, and the speed at which she can fly around means she can basically land right next to her victims when they least expect it, ready to tear them apart. It's interesting, and I don't know how much they did in the original book. Kara was in, I think, the first miniseries, and then they retconned it when they did War of the Undead Gods to where she had just left Krypton and had arrived on New Genesis instead of Earth, and then was taken over by, made a zombie by Highfather and the other new gods. So I always thought that was a weird change in the book, in the comics. So, but yeah, so there is Supergirl, Kara Zor-El. We get her figure ID and all that stuff. And then at 1.7 million, we got Do You Bleed from Batman v Superman. We are getting a set of Kryptonian enemy cards, as well as Kryptonian equipment cards. So we're basically getting two new versions of Superman and Supergirl, more powerful versions of them here. So empowered by Earth's yellow sun, Kryptonians are among the most powerful beings in the universe. The unliving Superman and Supergirl are therefore the toughest enemies that surviving superheroes have to face. With this stretch goal, we want to bring players an exclusive set of rules and cards that should only be used by experienced players wishing to take the most extreme challenge, the full unleashed might of Kryptonian zombies. The two new zombie hero cards contained in the set spawn overpowered versions of Superman and Supergirl. Not only is their toughness higher than anything ever seen, but they can drop by unsuspecting survivors and wipe them out in an instant. To make matters worse, they are eliminated by controversial means. They are only knocked out temporarily, respawning soon afterward, making them more versatile, dangerous, and unpredictable. A Kryptonian enemy action card is drawn for each of them every round as long as they are on the board. Each of these cards allow these Kryptonians to use their various powers like heat vision to blast everyone around them, super breath to push them around, or super speed to instantly charge at the superheroes. Now, here's the thing. Heat vision right here, the way it's currently written, all bystanders of superheroes within range 2 suffer 1 wound. They must all discard any equipment they have. So there's heat vision. There's Zombie Superman. Kryptonian enemy here says any superhero eliminated by him is eliminated. Or wounded by him is eliminated. Yeah, I mean, it's like you can basically wipe out the entire board with these two cards right here. It essentially is what it's saying. So, so there is that. So then no hope, question mark. Alas, not all hope is lost. This set also brings an arsenal of 6 Kryptonian weapons to the conflict. So we get these 6 weapons: raw kryptonite, Kryptonian arrows, Kryptonian sword, which should have been in the game already, Kryptonian laser, spear, and Kryptonian gas pellets. These equipments will be able to reduce Kryptonian's toughness and provide the superheroes with the only attacks capable of eliminating Superman and Supergirl for good. Besides that, they each offer different special effects like raw kryptonite to keep them away, kryptonite gas pellets to stun them, or a kryptonite spear to charge at them. So there's the update right there for Zombie Kara. Next update is update number 69, Say My Name. We have Shazam at 1,780,000. Shazam, again, not in the event, but it's cool to have him in here nonetheless. I think in the event he was locked up in a cafeteria in a school as a zombie, as Billy Batson in Unkillables, and then they had to end up killing him in the book to prevent him from being Shazam or Captain Marvel, however you want to go with it. When young Billy Batson transforms into Shazam, he gains all the powers of the Greek gods. The strength of Hercules allows him to soak lots of damage. The Wisdom of Solomon gives him the traits he needs each turn. The Stamina of Atlas heals his wounds. The Courage of Achilles gives him power to carry on. The Speed of Mercury makes him zoom around the board. And the Power of Zeus generates devastating lightning bolts. So that's going to be pretty cool. Again, wondering how that works. And with all the Shazam characters, they have like, this little write up trying to go over everything, but not real, like, to me, not really kind of going into detail as much. But there is Shazam, Captain Marvel. So I like that figure a lot. It looks pretty cool. And I like the newer design of the Shazam costume. So then we're going to go to the last update we're going to be covering now. This, for purists of the, let's go, where are we at? Yeah, we're not getting to that last update. Update 69 was the last update from yesterday, meaning that if I would have done the video last night, this would have been the last thing I talked about. However, we're going to go ahead just for completion's sake, and we're going to talk about update number 70, A Light in the Dark, Green Tree Lobsters. With a deafening thunderclap, Shazam is here. In this war against undead gods, we make some unlikely allies. So what was revealed some point early this morning is Darkseid, Yellow Lantern. I think while he was a zombie and killed Sinestro, Darkseid became a Yellow Lantern. I think he's actually got Sinestro's ring. And then he was mad when they finally got him out of his anti-life stupor. So if we reach 1,870,000, we will unlock for all backers a Kickstarter exclusive Darkseid Yellow Lantern superhero, including his figure and ID card. So there he is there with, I'm assuming, looks like a Yellow Lantern exploding underneath him. Cured from the virus and furious at having been used by the anti-life, Darkseid joins the fight on the side of the superheroes, which did happen. I think he was one of the people who led the charge against Erebos during the last half of War of the Undead Gods. As if he wasn't already powerful enough, the Apokolipton is in possession of a power ring, a full-fledged Yellow Lantern. He wields fear itself to strike from a distance and gain traits. Plus, he still has his Omega Beams. Traveling in a chaotic path around any obstacle to deal insane damage means he probably doesn't need line of sight to use it. Darkseid might fight with the heroes, but he's still a villain at heart with no qualms about sacrificing his newfound allies to get the job done. So there is Darkseid right there with his yellow lantern ring and base. And yeah, that is going to be all the main updates. So this is where we're at. When we started this, we had 9,666. I remember that because of evil. But now we are at 9,707 backers. So we're doing pretty good still on backers. We got about 50 or so during this recording. So but yeah, I am excited for this campaign. I know a lot of people's issues with the Marvel Zombies comparison. Again, between what was offered in this campaign, what was offered in that campaign, there's no way of comparing those two. They're two completely different campaigns and completely different games, essentially. But even on like straight stretch goals itself, like we've got 42 stretch goals right now. The numbers are a little weird because Marvel Zombies did have more daily giveaways than DCeased does, but like we've got more stretch goals, but at a lower dollar amount. In this one, I mean, we're not even at 2 million essentially at this point. Whereas I think at the same time on starting day 16 in Marvel Zombies, we were somewhere in the ballpark of almost 7 million. So again, like that's kind of where where the comparison kind of dies off a little bit because it's just way out of whack. I mean, for a comparison at this point, Marvel United 1, we were somewhere between having unlocked Squirrel Girl and Doctor Strange. She was the $1,820 mark, and he was the $1,920 mark in that campaign. That was on day 21 of that campaign. Granted, they didn't have their 24-hour push, but they were the 33rd and 34th unlock during that campaign, whereas for DCeased, Darkseid, Yellow Lantern is the 42nd stretch goal in here. So again, like it's kind of weird And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they only had stretch goal wise. Um, Marvel United had 43 unlocks if you count the Nebula, Yondu, and Adam Warlock thing at the end of 3 separate characters. So they had 43 characters. We've unlocked more characters technically with a less amount of money um, and less days than Marvel United did. So again, like depending on what you're comparing it to, comparing it to a Zombicide game, comparing it to another um, superhero level game, it's um, I don't know. I don't want to sit here again and because I feel like the campaign is doing very well for what it is and what was offered. So I'm not too worried about it. We still have 33 and a half hours to go in the campaign. So I am at this point, I just want to see what all we're going to get at the end. I need to put in my pledge because as you can see, I haven't backed the project yet. So definitely need to do that, but I'll be putting my pledge in probably later this afternoon and kind of going for there. And yeah, so with that said, I would like to thank you guys for tuning into this video. I will be doing one more video on this probably in the evening of tomorrow night. I don't know. I always say I want to try to do a live stream. I'm not going to promise one. If I do, it will be hopefully starting at 8:30, but I will have, my kids still running around the house at that point. They won't be asleep yet. So we will see how that goes. If not, I'm just going to do a final recap video for essentially everybody who's going to late pledge or the $1 pledges. So, but yeah, it'll either be a live stream starting at 8:30 or p.m. Eastern time, or it'll be just a regular video out later that night. So, but I'd like to thank you guys for tuning into this look at all the other updates for DCeased. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button toward the bottom of the page down there, down the bottom. That'd help me a lot. I'd like to thank all the new subscribers that have come on during this campaign. So, like I said, just make sure you hit that subscribe button, help us grow the channel. I'd very much appreciate it, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.